this drug use. Mia testified that she kind of was given a different batch of all these different drugs, and it was kind of like a guessing game of which drug was which drug, and she had to take a line of it. Whereas Brennan Paul talked about the first time he did drugs outside of, marijuana was to see with Sean Combs in order to kind of prove his loyalty. But I think another big thing, Jesse, was just the kidnapping aspect, because to your point, a lot of people are like, oh my God, there's no more kidnapping. Oh my God, there's no more arson. But the prosecution laid out 3 instances of kidnapping. One in January of 2009, when Cassie's face was stomped on and she was held at a hotel because Sean Combs got upset that she was talking to a producer, and Cassie drunkenly punched Sean Combs in the face, and then he physically assaulted her, and that Sean Combs forced her to stay in a hotel for a week, and that Bonds, the security guard, told her that she couldn't leave that hotel. And so the prosecution was like, Cassie didn't consent to staying at the London hotel during this particular alleged incident of kidnapping. Then there was another time where they brought it back to 2004 here in New York City with Capricorn Clark and the lie detector test after the jewelry went missing, and how the government said a person restricted victims' movements by confining her to a place. And so the prosecution laid out that the man who administered the test said if she refused, she would be thrown into the East River. That was something that Capricorn Clark had even testified to. And then obviously the biggest instance was December of 2011 with the whole Kid Cudi kind of aspect, where Capricorn Clark says that a gun was pointed at her face by Sean Combs. She was forced into this car and was driven over to Kid Cudi's home, all because Sean Combs was upset that he being Kid Cudi, was seeing Cassie Ventura fine.
Let's just dive into these YouTube streets, man. So it looks like P. Diddy might be cooked, man. They trying to hit the bull with the kidnapping and racketeering charge. They trying to say when he stomped out Cassie at the Trump Hotel and dragged her back to the freak off, that was kidnapping, bro. And they was trying to say that Capricorn Clark was kidnapped too, and that P. Diddy put a gun to her head and drove her to Kid Cudi's house against her will, and then threatened her to throw her in the East River if she didn't tell him who had his jewelry. And as far as the racketeering part, they trying to say he was running a criminal enterprise through Bad Boy. When he was having these freak-offs party, he was passing out drugs like meth, oxycodone pills, and this other drug they had, you know what I mean? They had the white boy get on the stand and said he was the supplier, and he said that he was doing the drugs too, and that he was forced into it to prove his loyalty. But they saying even though Puffy didn't have kilos of drugs or anything like that, it's still a crime to pass out drugs like that at a party. So they only got to prove 2 out of 14 to make a RICO charge stick. You know what I mean? So the sex trafficking part, they trying to say he indulged in prostitution acts by flying sex workers out to fuck Cassie and Jane Doe. You know what I mean? So they trying to really fucking slam these charges on Diddy, man. I don't think all of them are gonna stick, but I do think like the kidnapping thing, because Capricorn Clark got on there crying her eyes out, saying he put the gun to her head. She was forced against her will to go somewhere she didn't want to be. So they might can get him on kidnapping, you know what I mean? But that video of him beating up Cassie, that's in the juror's head. And they looking at Diddy as a monster right now. Like he just this evil guy, man, that's pushing drugs, flying sex workers out to fuck his girls. You know what I mean? But I don't feel that he should get life in prison. Maybe 2 to 5, man. And they was trying to say forced labor act too. I believe he did that. I know he did that one. Made these motherfuckers work and didn't pay him shit. But maybe 2 to 5, bro. Not life. Not life. But he is going to be guilty of something. Out of all those charges, they're going to put something on him. He's not going to be found innocent of all charges. They're going to put something on him. But I don't know how much time he's going to get for the charges. But it's time for Diddy to sit down, man. He been having freak-off parties since 1994, man. You should have never tried to sue the De Leon company. They just flipped that shit and put you on trial. Should have left the white man alone, bro. But Puffy always thought he was bigger than his britches, man. He always did, you know? But now you're going to find out the hard way, man. But this is a diabolical trial, man. It's worse than the O.J. Simpson trial. I ain't never seen nothing like this. This is just, man, like a humiliation ritual, man. Like all these memes, all these videos. Oh, man, Puff is cooked, yo. But y'all comment below, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. Do you think the kidnapping charge gonna stick? They only gotta prove 2 things in a RICO case for him to be guilty. Let me know, man. Make sure y'all stream It's My Turn on all platforms, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube Music, all the streaming sites, man. I'm out of here. One love. Peace.